Have you ever noticed an unexplainable odor from your body and simply ignored it, thinking it was just stress or hormonal changes? Teresa did exactly that for 3 years, until an advanced lung cancer diagnosis turned her life upside down. What she didn't know was that her own body was screaming for help through signals that modern medicine can finally identify. Right now, thousands of people are ignoring silent alerts their bodies are sending, signs so subtle that doctors frequently dismiss them as stress or age. And the most frightening part, recent studies reveal that 68% of cancer patients reported experiencing at least one of these 8 hidden signs up to 2 years before their official diagnosis. The next minutes could literally save your life or the life of someone you love. I'll reveal the 8 signs that Harvard oncologists are now training doctors to recognize, including odor changes that 91% of people completely ignore. Don't skip any part of this video, especially the 4th sign, which is frequently confused with a common and harmless condition. Teresa was always the type of person who didn't let things get her down easily. At 54, this history teacher and mother of 2 adult children maintained an active, healthy routine. She ran 3 times a week, ate relatively well, and never smoked a single cigarette in her life. Lung cancer was the last thing I expected, she told me during our interview. It all started with a peculiar odor that only she seemed to notice. It was like my sweat had a metallic smell, especially at night, she explains. At first, Teresa attributed this to menopause. After all, her body was going through so many changes. When she mentioned the symptom during her annual checkup, her doctor agreed it was probably just hormonal changes. What Teresa didn't know was that this metallic odor was the first of several signals her body was desperately trying to communicate. As months turned into years, other subtle signs began to appear. A mild cough that never completely disappeared, fatigue that no amount of coffee could solve, and small reddish spots that appeared and disappeared on her arms. I had a logical explanation for each symptom, she admits. The cough was seasonal allergies. The fatigue was because of my new position at school. The spots were sensitivity to soap. It was only when Teresa began feeling pain in her back when breathing deeply that she finally sought out a pulmonologist. The news she received changed everything. Non-small cell lung cancer, stage 3B. If I had recognized the signs earlier, she says with a choked voice, maybe it wouldn't have gotten to this point. What happened to Teresa is not an isolated case. Dr. Richard Bennett, oncologist at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center and researcher specializing in early detection, explains, the human body is incredibly sophisticated in its warning system. Long before the classic symptoms appear, there are subtle signs that, when correctly interpreted, can lead to diagnoses at much more treatable stages. Recent research published in the Journal of Clinical Oncology analyzed the medical records of over 4,000 cancer patients and discovered something surprising. 73% of them had reported at least one non-specific symptom to their doctors in the period of 6 to 24 months before formal diagnosis. These symptoms were frequently recorded, but rarely connected as possible indicators of cancer. We're not just talking about detecting cancer a few days or weeks earlier, emphasizes Dr. Bennett. We're potentially talking about years of advantage, which can literally be the difference between a simple treatment and a battle for survival. This revelation is changing how oncologists train primary care physicians, teaching them to recognize subtle patterns that previously went unnoticed. The 8 hidden signs your body may be sending now. I'll share the 8 hidden signs that may indicate cancerous processes in early stages. Pay close attention, as some of these symptoms are so common that you might be experiencing one of them right now. 1. Changes in body odor. The first sign, and the one Teresa ignored for so long, is a persistent change in body odor. We're not talking about normal body odor after exercise, but rather an odor distinctly different from your natural smell. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania discovered that certain types of cancer, especially lung, liver, and some blood cancers, can cause volatile organic compounds, VOCs, that alter the smell of sweat, urine, and even breath. These odors are often described as metallic, sweet, acrid, or ammonia-like, explains Dr. Bennett. And here's the crucial detail. Often, only the person themselves can perceive these subtle changes at first, since the human body is extremely sensitive to its own smell. If you've noticed a persistent change, even if no one else perceives it, don't ignore it. 2. Fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. Feeling tired after a busy day is normal, but when Teresa began to feel a different kind of exhaustion, a deep fatigue that no amount of sleep seemed to resolve, her body was signaling. "I used to wake up feeling tired even after 8 or 9 hours of sleep," she recalls. This type of fatigue occurs because cancer cells consume an enormous amount of energy from the body, even in their early stages. Additionally, the immune system works tirelessly against these abnormal cells, further depleting your energy reserves. If you're resting adequately but still feel constantly exhausted for more than 2 weeks, this could be a sign that your body needs a more thorough evaluation. 3. Unexplained skin spots. The small reddish spots that appeared and disappeared on Teresa's arms were easily confused with common skin irritations. However, certain types of cancer, especially lymphomas and leukemias, can cause spots or petechiae, small red or purple dots, that appear without apparent reason. The crucial difference is in the pattern, explains Dr. Laura Chen, a dermatologist specializing in cutaneous manifestations of internal diseases. Common skin irritations usually respond to topical treatments and have identifiable triggers. Cancer-related manifestations tend to appear without obvious cause, don't respond to conventional treatments, and may change location or appearance over time. If you've noticed unexplained spots, especially if accompanied by other symptoms on this list, it's important to document them with photos to show your doctor, even if they temporarily disappear. 4. Persistent cough, not related to a cold. This was the sign that Teresa confused with seasonal allergies, a dry, persistent cough that never completely went away. "It was so mild that I didn't even realize I was coughing until my son pointed out that I was doing it constantly during our video calls," she says. A cough that persists for more than 3 weeks, especially if not associated with other cold or allergy symptoms, deserves attention. Dr. Bennett explains, what makes this sign particularly treacherous is its similarity to common benign conditions. But there are subtle differences. Cancer-related cough typically doesn't respond to treatments for allergic or post-viral cough, may be more pronounced in certain body positions, and is rarely associated with nasal congestion. If you have a persistent cough, especially if you're a non-smoker like Teresa, don't allow it to be routinely dismissed as allergies or a cold without proper investigation. 5. Unexplained pain that comes and goes. When Teresa finally sought help, it was due to back pain when breathing deeply. Pain that appears without obvious cause, especially if intermittent and not associated with injuries or physical exertion, deserves careful attention. Cancer-related pain has distinct characteristics, explains Dr. Mark Levine, a specialist in oncological pain management. It tends to be more intense at night, can be triggered by specific actions such as breathing deeply or lying in certain positions, and often doesn't respond to common painkillers as expected. Particularly concerning are new persistent pains in the abdomen, back, hip, or chest that have no clear explanation and last more than 2 weeks. These may indicate tumors that are exerting pressure on organs, nerves, or bones, even in early stages. 6. Subtle voice changes or difficulty swallowing. My voice would get hoarse at the end of the day, but I attributed it to long hours of teaching, explains Teresa. What she didn't know is that persistent voice changes, even mild ones, can indicate lung, thyroid, or laryngeal cancer. Dr. Jonathan Reiser, an otolaryngologist, warns, we're not just talking about obvious hoarseness. Subtle changes in timbre, a constant feeling of having something stuck in your throat, or increasing difficulty swallowing certain foods are all signs that deserve investigation, especially if they persist for more than 2 weeks. These changes occur because tumors, even small ones, can affect the nerves that control our vocal cords or interfere with the normal swallowing process. If you've noticed any persistent change in your voice or ability to swallow, don't wait for it to worsen before seeking medical evaluation. 7. Unexplained night sweats. Teresa didn't mention this symptom initially, but during our interview she recalled, "Now that I think about it, I had nights when I would wake up with wet sheets, even in colder months. I thought they were hot flashes from menopause." Night sweats associated with cancer have particular characteristics. They tend to be profuse enough to completely soak sleepwear and sheets, occur during sleep, and are not related to room temperature. This symptom is particularly associated with lymphomas, leukemias, and some neuroendocrine tumors, but can also occur with other types of cancer. What distinguishes normal night sweats from those that deserve attention is their intensity, frequency, and the absence of other explanations such as infections, medications, or already diagnosed hormonal conditions. 8. Effortless weight loss. The last sign, but certainly not least important, is unintentional weight loss. Teresa lost almost 15 pounds in 3 months without making any changes to her diet or exercise routine. Actually, I was even happy about the weight loss. Who wouldn't be? She admits sadly. Dr. Bennett explains, a weight loss of 5% or more of your total body weight in a 3-6-month period, without changes in diet or exercise, should always raise a red flag. This weight loss occurs because cancer cells consume large amounts of energy, altering the body's normal metabolism. Additionally, some types of cancer can affect nutrient absorption or cause subtle nausea that reduces appetite. What makes this sign particularly dangerous is that, in our thinness-obsessed society, weight loss is often celebrated instead of investigated. How to identify if you're at risk? How will you know if the symptoms you're experiencing deserve deeper investigation? Here are 5 warning signs indicating it's time to seek medical help. 1. Persistence. Any of the 8 symptoms that persist for more than 2 weeks without improvement. 2. Progression. Symptoms that start mild but gradually worsen or increase in frequency. 3. Pattern. Symptoms that follow a particular pattern, such as occurring only at certain times of day or in response to specific activities. 4. Combination. The presence of 2 or more of these symptoms simultaneously significantly increases the need for investigation. 5. Intuition. That persistent feeling that something isn't right with your body. Teresa reflects, "Deep down, I knew something was wrong. I should have trusted that feeling more." Teresa's journey today. 6 months since her diagnosis, Teresa is in the middle of her treatment, a combination of chemotherapy and immunotherapy. "I won't lie, it's the hardest thing I've ever faced," she admits, "but I also feel incredibly lucky. My oncologist told me if I had waited another 3 months, it would probably be a very different story." The most poignant moment for Teresa came during a conversation with her oncologist. She asked me about the metallic odor I had mentioned during our first consultation. When I confirmed that this had been happening for years, she held my hands and said, "Teresa, your body was trying to alert you all along. Next time, we'll listen to it together." Today, Teresa makes a point of sharing her story with everyone she knows. "I had no idea my body could give me such subtle signals. If my experiences can help even one person detect cancer earlier, all this suffering will have been worth it." Chapter what you should do now. If you've identified one or more of these signs in yourself or someone you love, here's what you need to do. 1. Document everything. Keep a detailed diary of symptoms when they occur, their intensity, and any factors that seem to worsen or improve them. Take photos of any visible changes. 2. Consult a doctor. Schedule an appointment specifically to discuss these symptoms. Bring your diary and be assertive about your concerns. 3. Insist when necessary. If your doctor quickly dismisses your concerns, don't hesitate to seek a second opinion. As Dr. Bennett says, the best doctors are those who listen carefully and take patients' concerns seriously. 4. Share this video. Knowledge is power. Share this information with your loved ones. You never know who might be ignoring these same signs at this very moment. 5. Remember, experiencing these symptoms doesn't automatically mean you have cancer. Many benign conditions can cause similar signs. The important thing is not to ignore them and ensure they are properly investigated. If you know someone who frequently ignores health signs or postpones medical visits, share this video right now. Write attention in the comments if you're going to start paying more attention to the signals your body sends. And tell us which of these symptoms you've already experienced, but might have ignored in the past. Remember Teresa's words. Our bodies tell us important things every day. The question is, are we listening? This message could literally save lives, perhaps even yours.